Yes. Recording in progress. Great, welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order this Thursday, March 19th, 2026 meeting of the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission. I have one public hearing on our schedule on our agenda tonight, so I want to just take a couple of minutes to read through the process for public hearings. During the public hearing, the applicant will be invited to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The applicant or staff will share all application materials on the screen as needed. Comments of town agencies will be read for each application. If there are any, there will be clarifying questions from the commissioners. Then there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from attendees. For Zoom attendees, please raise your hand through the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. As this public hearing must be recorded, attendees will state their names and addresses before asking their questions. Next, those who wish to support the application may come forward, and then those who oppose the application may come forward. Again, it is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time to speak by stating their name and address. The applicant will then have an opportunity to address any questions or concerns raised by the public or the commissioners. Once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to leave or remain for the balance of the regular meeting, during which the commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of this commission and has a right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. Decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Land Use Department at 203-245-5631 after 9 a.m. All actions taken tonight by the commission will be by roll call. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for the record before speaking. Seated this evening, we have members Mike Bugda, Michelle Clark, who's an alternate. Michelle, I'd like to seat you to replace Janet Peckencloth, who's not tonight. So big shoes to fill. I know.
We're flattered.
Max Caroon, Jeff Downs by way of Zoom. Vice Chair John Juza, Secretary John Morgan, Bob O'Connor, and myself, Carol Snow, Chair. Staff present this evening is Aaron Mannix, Town Planner. The meeting is live streamed on YouTube and will be made available on the town website for viewing. Additionally, I would like to ask that we treat each other respectfully throughout the meeting, and a reminder to please turn off your cell phones. The Town Planner will now read the legal notice.
Sure. Notice is hereby given that the Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, March 19th, 2026, beginning at 7 p.m. in Meeting Room A, James Madison Room, Town Campus, 8 Campus Drive, Madison, Connecticut, 06443. This is a hybrid meeting, and attendees may also join via Zoom webinar through either webinar link or call-in information below. The webinar ID is 915-8196-6735. The password is 452138. Dial-in number is 646-558-8656. The following application will be heard. Number 26-3 plus coastal site plan 0 Cottage Road, map 30, lot 35, zone C commercial. The owner is Commerce Center of Madison LLC, and the applicant is Gulick and Company LLC. It's a special exception application and coastal site plan application for the construction of an 8,706 square foot footprint mixed-use commercial and residential building, which will primarily be used as a cabinetry business with retail and showroom space, workshop, inventory storage, supporting offices and restrooms. The building includes 2 one-bedroom residential dwelling units on the second floor. The site improvements include access driveway, parking areas, sidewalk, building utility services, wastewater system, stormwater management system, exterior lighting, signage, and landscape improvements. Copies of this application are available for inspection in the Land Use Office. Further details on how to participate in the webinar are posted on the Town of Madison website, www.madisonct.org. All written correspondence can be submitted to the Land Use Department via email at landuse@madisonct.org. Dial 203-245-5631 for assistance. Dated at Madison, Connecticut, this 24th day of February, 2026, Carol Snow, Chair. This was published once in the source on March 5th, 26, and once on March 12th, 2026.
Thank you, Aaron. Could I have a motion then to open 26-3 plus coastal site plan.
I want that motion. I'll second.
You have it? Got it. Any further discussion? All in favor? The public hearing is open. Invite the applicant.
The applicants are here and Attorney Chris McKeon will be joining via Zoom. So we have a hybrid attendance.
Every presentation.
Chris, can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I apologize for being present by Zoom. I would like to be in the room. I've been out of the state for the last several weeks, but for the record, my name's Chris McKeon. I'm an attorney. I live in town at 31 Hotchkiss Lane. My office address is 900 Chapel Street in New Haven. I am representing the applicant, who is represented tonight in the room by Travis Gulick and Peter Gulick. Also on our team is Rick Staub from Point One Architects. Mike Ott is the project engineer. Rachel Blunden from Madison Earth Care is the landscape architect. And we are here tonight to present what I think is a really nice project, and from a zoning perspective, one that fits really neatly into the special exceptions that are allowed under our commercial zoning district, which, as you probably all know, isn't always the case with uses that are mixed use projects. Most of you probably know the Gulicks and their work in and about town. They are truly a local business. I've noticed in the past 10 or perhaps longer years them, being a really good story in town about a growing business. Their signs and projects are everywhere, and I think that's just a testament to the quality of work they do and the type of people they are. And this application is, in fact, the product of a growing and expansion of this business into the cabinetry business. They have a business that they operate in rented space over on Mungertown, I think. And they are wanting this site and this project to be the home of their saltwood cabinetry business. It does consist of a retail component, showroom, design center, and supporting bathrooms and offices for the sort of front of the shop operation. And it also includes a workshop, inventory storage, offices, restrooms for employees working in the workshop. I'm going to let Travis discuss more about the operations in a minute, but I wanted to cover quickly the zoning basis for how we're in front of you and why we're in front of you tonight. The property consists of just under an acre, 0.94 acres. It's in the commercial zoning district in town. If you look at our zoning map, there are very few parcels in town that are in the commercial zoning district and that are not owned by the state of Connecticut. This happens to be one of them. It is near the intersection of Cottage Road and Mill Road. If you head north up Mill Road from the post road, it is the first left-hand turn. Many people probably drive by it and don't even know it's there. The application itself is seeking to obtain approval of the following uses. The cabinetry business and related workshop and inventory storage meets the definition under our regulations of a retail service, professional service, business service. That is, in fact, defined in our regulations in section 19 as those facilities primarily involved with the provision of personal care or other service as opposed to product either on or off premises, directly to the ultimate consumer, which may be a person or a business, as in walk-in trade or by appointment. Examples of such services include a bunch of things: beauty salon, barber shops, but landscape, plumbers, engineers, contractors. So the type of operation they're planning to conduct here fits very well in that definition. Additionally, under section 6.1.2.2, allowed in the commercial zone by special exception is accessory uses customary to uses that are permitted by special exception in the district, including the manufacture or processing of materials as incidental to a permitted retail sales or retail service use. So those two uses and those two definitions cover the cabinetry operation and the uses to which they want to put this building that they want to construct on the site. Additionally, the commercial district provides for use of the properties as multiple family dwelling units, subject to certain requirements under section 6.15.2. That is that each dwelling unit that is constructed has to be used as either a residence by the owner or an apartment leased for periods of no less than 3 months. I would submit to you that should you choose to approve this application tonight, that the requirement that apartments be leased for periods of no less than 3 months can be incorporated into the approval as a condition in terms of enforcement. In addition to those requirements, multiple family dwelling units in the commercial district you have to have a 200% more commercial area than you do residential area. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this requirement. The regulations allow you to modify it, and I know you have in connection with certain projects. However, we're not asking you to modify that because clearly with this project, there is much more commercial use than residential use here. There's 10,980 square feet of commercial space and only 2,240 square feet of floor area for the 2 one-bedroom apartments. The other requirements for these multiple family dwelling units include that the dwelling unit cannot have more than 2 bedrooms. And as I just indicated, both of these apartments have 1 bedroom. So those are the specific criteria under our regulations for allowing multifamily dwelling unit use in the commercial district by special exception. All of the technical standards that are required for the uses I just explained are satisfied by this application. The one part of the regulations which remains a mystery to me each time I read it, and it is one that I think is largely either ignored or not enforced or interpreted differently, and that is the requirement under section 8.4 of our regulations, which essentially prohibits parking in a front yard. And while I know I can think of examples where for planning reasons, you would want to prohibit parking in a front yard. I live very close to the eastern part of town in the Hammonasset area, and I can't think of one commercial use where there isn't parking in the front yard, nor can I think of many commercial operators and users who would want to prohibit parking in their front yard. It seems to me to be completely opposite to the way that commercial properties are used and operated. But luckily, our section 8.4 allows you to waive this requirement if it's in the best interest of the district. And I would submit to you that while our application requests that relief, I don't know that we've ever enforced it or required it in the commercial district. I could be wrong about that, but again, as I put in my statement of use, I don't really understand why that provision is there, especially in the commercial district. But because it is there, we have requested relief from that particular provision. And then, of course, there's the general provisions relating to special exceptions that you're probably all familiar with, and they come from case law. They're in our regulations about the three requirements, and those are that the proposed uses have to be permitted uses in the district, and the standards, prerequisites, and conditions specified by the regulations have been met. I just covered how we meet all of the specific technical requirements for getting these uses approved in the commercial district, and how we meet all of them. The second criteria to consider is that the public convenience and welfare has to be substantially served, and the neighboring properties won't be substantially or permanently injured. I would submit to you here that we have a parcel of property that is completely underutilized, and we have the opportunity to serve the community by allowing a truly local business to plant their roots here in this location, hopefully for many years to come. In addition to adding some much needed commercial tax base in our town. And then the third prong of the general conditions or criteria for special exceptions is that the proposed uses have to be in accordance with the comprehensive plan. And the first thing we look to in that analysis is always our regulations and our zoning map. So our zoning map puts this property into our commercial district. Our commercial district regulations allow these very uses to which we're trying to put this site. And that in and of itself is evidence of consistency with the comprehensive plan. I put in the letter I submitted today, as well as our statement of use, the areas of the plan of conservation and development, which can also be looked to when you're talking about the comprehensive plan of the town. People always seem to think that's what you look to first when you're talking about the words comprehensive plan, but it really is the zoning regulations and map to which you look to first. Of course, the plan of conservation and development, which is a year old, and I know how much work you all put into that. The very specific provisions of that are set forth in my statement of use, and there are some that are I wanted to call your attention to, including the policy F, which is promote the expansion of commercial and retail businesses that are appropriate for the town. And on page 55 and 56 of our plan of conservation and development, under the policy F details, there are specifically saying supporting establishment of small, well-designed businesses outside of the downtown village district, and support existing business owners to facilitate growth of local business through the Economic Development Commission, staff, Chamber of Commerce, and other relevant stakeholders. I would submit to you that this application brought by the Gulicks hits those on squarely on the head. So with that, I would like to turn the floor over to our project architect, Rick Staub, to show you all what this building and development will look like.
Commissioner Cole for the ASA.
Yes.
Yeah, come on. Hi, guys. My name is Rick Staub. I'm an architect. We have an office here in Madison on 17 Wall Street and also one in Oakland. But we are the project architects for this project, which I think is a really cool little project in town. As we get to the presentation, what we're going to show you is what we presented to ACA about a week ago. We had really good favorable responses from that as far as the architecture is concerned. I don't think it made it into your initial package, so hopefully this isn't coming at you from a sideways, but it just has a little more information, a more kind of graphic, fun stuff to look at. So share that when we get there. So the cover sheet basically shows the lot in very graphic form from the Google Earth map, and we kind of color generate it to make it more pop, I guess. Boston Post Road is on the bottom of the page, and Hammonasset Connector is on the left-hand side of that. You can see our lot is shown in the red diagram with the triangular shape. So it's kind of an odd-shaped lot. We can't even get the whole thing on the back of it. It goes to a point in the back. It is adjacent, kind of close to the connector. Like I said, there's a property between us and the connector. There's a cell tower back here as well. So as you're coming down that cell tower that you see going into Hammonasset, that's kind of a landmark for you guys. There's the new residential development happening over here. So this is the old map. There's a bigger piece of stuff going on over there right now, but that's our lot. So you can see that as we get into the architecture here, we're going to talk about two parts of the building. And Mike Ott will be able to describe the site plan a lot better than I am. I'm here to kind of describe the architecture to you. But the front of the building is going to be more residential or kind of in keeping with small commercial scale here. And then as we get to the back building, that's where the actual nuts and bolts of the operation happen. So it's a little more kind of barn-like structure as we get into that. But you'll see front of the building and then back of the building. So if I refer to that, that's what we're talking about. You can also notice that there is a front parking area that was presented by our attorney, as well as a rear parking lot. So the front is meant for the retail component of it, the two shop people manning that position, as well as people coming in and out of the shop, as well as the two residential units above. And then people working in the shop per se in the back will be parking. So that's how that's set up. We do have the need to bring trucks back here. Mike Ott's plan shows a little bit better where that parking is. We have a couple of loading doors back there, 10-foot wide doors, which bring materials in and take materials out. You can go to the next plan. This is Mike's drawing. I'm going to let him get to it. Civil drawings are never quite as graphically pleasing as I like to present, but he's not here, so I can say it. Mike, are you online right now? Let's go to the next drawing, please. So this is our floor plan. We have some blowouts of this. Unfortunately, we've rotated it on you, so what we just presented is now rotated, but the front building is on the left-hand side over here. This is consisting of a front porch coming into the retail component, and then there's support space for the retail component, like offices and restrooms and conference areas and things like that. There is a accessible ramp on the eastern side of the building, which comes into a stair. This is also the access for the residential units on the second floor. So when we do talk about the residential units, they're basically going to be stacked over here. That's all we're going to be doing with that. So as we get to the back building, that's all of the workshop, working on laying out how the equipment and storage comes out. Currently, we're not quite 100% there yet, but we're working through how that gets laid out. You can see that there's a couple overhead doors. So the drive comes in and one will back in and load off materials here. And then production happens in here. And then most likely as we start to paint and deliver out, it's going to go out that door. So we kind of have this process of doors going through there. There is a second floor component of the shop as well for more storage and maybe some production work up there also. We can go to the next drawing, please. This is the second floor plan showing you the residential completely on that side. The stair comes up. They're small enough units where we have one exit out, one egress out of there, but one bedroom each, a split right down the middle. You can see the porch roof kind of exposing, which you'll see better in a minute. And then again, the second floor component of the workshop area itself. And then we'll keep going. These are blow-up floor plans. I don't think we need to go into those right now, but now we've rotated you back again. So porch, showroom, conference room, offices, bathrooms, restrooms, break rooms, things like that on the unit. And then the residential unit's blown up. And then we can get to the prettier stuff. Elevationally speaking, the outside elevations. You know what? Let's go right to the rendering if you don't mind. It's down a few. Go to that first one. All right. So this is the front building. It is kind of very classic Madison, classic colonial feeling with a little bit of a shoreline component to it, very, very much in keeping with the town vernacular. So we have a two-story building in the front porch. This is the parking spot for the retail component coming in. Getting up to the front porch with that ramp that I talked about before. This is the stair tower that goes up to the residential unit, the doors behind it. Retail on the first floor, residential apartments on the second floor. This is a wood shingle structure. It has painted white windows and painted white trim and metal roof on the lower piece and an asphalt shingle roof on the upper piece. Let's go to the other. This will give you an idea of how that secondary building works in the back. So this is the drive that goes to the back. You can see that we now transition from the classic kind of building gently. There's still a low porch with shingles here, but then the larger barn building actually takes on a nice gray siding, metal siding back there. It's a metal engineer, a pre-engineered building back there. So scale comes down as it goes around the back side of it, but it still feels like it's in keeping with the local vernacular. We do have some lights that are going on this building. Four particular in the front, one over each door, and then two around the side, on either side of the front entry door. Full cutoff, but they're actually under the porch as well, so we're not letting any light into the skies. We do have some full cutoff wall pack lights going over the doors at the commercial side of the building, just because we need that for egress as far as lighting the area around getting in and out of the building. And then Mike has some site lights also that he can talk about when he gets into that. I guess I would ask you if you have any questions about the architecture. Otherwise, we can turn it over to the next people.
Any signage?
There will be signage coming, yes. So the thought is there might be signage here, there might be off a ground mount signage, but we don't have anything yet at this moment to provide.
Well, the workshop area, how are you handling ventilation?
I'll let Travis talk about ventilation when he wants to talk about the project a little bit deeper. So we haven't gotten to the mechanical system development yet at this point, but there will be ventilation. Obviously, we have a paint shop going on in there. That's major ventilation. We have a lot of dust production. We have to manage that. I would think, I don't want to speak out of turn, you're collecting all your dust in sight and you're keeping it there and not putting any dust out into the world. And the same thing with the ventilation for the paint shop.
I have a question about the loading dock, because you showed us the architecture, but not the parking. So in the parking in the back, is there room for trucks to go straight out and then turn around and head out? How?
So let's go maybe back to that one. Yeah, that's good. So a truck would come in. It would then pull back into this piece and then it could come out and make the turn out and back around. No, we're talking 30-foot max single truck. Yep. Yeah. There is, Mike will talk about it, storage area in the back for trash and things like that as well.
So that area is all paved.
This is all paved. My original site diagram doesn't show it correctly, so this is all paved. Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Rachel Blendon, Madison Earth Care, 1250 Durham Road in Madison. So the landscaping plan is, as you can see, it's obviously a commercial plan, which usually means less maintenance, but it's elevated to match the brand of the company. It has something colorful year round. We have put a lot of natives in it, a couple pollinator plants as well, which, you know, that you don't necessarily find in an average commercial lot. But if you choose the right plants, you can do it without a lot of maintenance. So you can see in the front here, we have a medium-sized bed, and the purpose of that is to really soften that front parking that we were talking about. It's a little bit of a buffer, but there's a bit of an elevation to the property, so it's not blocking the beautiful building itself. It's really just, as I said, softening the parking areas. And we have, you know, some larger specimen trees, 3 of them, to again kind of soften the building and elevate it. All right.
So in the comments from ACCA,
Yes.
we read that they asked you to swap out the kinds of maple tree.
Yes.
And then I think they were concerned about that front bed, that it would block the building, I guess, but isn't
I
that?
think they were concerned until we explained that there is a 10-foot elevation, and also the plants that were chosen. I mean, aside from we're changing to an Acer rubrum. Aside from that tree, everything is a maximum of 2 to 3 feet tall. So it's really it's not going to block it.
So you're keeping it.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you. Nice. Yeah. And as you said, we're switching to an Acer rubrum instead.
Is there anything being done between the pavement and the neighboring property?
No, there's nothing planned for that area.
No fence, no.
I don't know if anybody has any, no.
It's all wooded, it's all. We remain all naturally wooded where it is.
That property is occupied?
No, there's none. If you go back to
Yeah.
that map one, there is none. I don't know who owns that. I don't know if that's deep or. Deep is our neighbor, is that on the west side?
Deep is on the east.
It is, yeah, it is the state on the east side of it.
Any questions for landscaping? Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Aaron, can you bring up the, just like the floor plans, kind of? No, Travis Gulick and Company, 45 Wall Street. Obviously, I live in town. Our business partners, Father Peter, Harvey Treat are here as well. Like Chris said, we've been in town for a long time. We've been looking for a property for quite some couple of years now. We really wanted to stay local. And, there's opportunities to go multiple towns over. Our main office is downtown, our operations is in Madison. So really kind of waited quite a while until this opportunity came up. So I just really want to just kind of talk about the operations a little bit. The front of the building is going to be a showroom. We don't have a showroom right now. We have a little office down in Madison, old house, but only so much we can do with that. So we want to kind of create a showroom, different cabinetry, have a design office. So for clients to come in, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, to kind of see what's going on. Have a little design office, and then we also have the workshop attached to it. Right now, we operate out of two shops in the Milano development. They're separated and very logistics. My guys aren't really a great fan. We were rolling down cabinets down the parking lot and everything like that. So right now we have, we're limited on parking here, but we really wouldn't be needing more than 8 employees in the back, 2 in the front. And then obviously the 2 apartments above. Just a couple of logistical things. I know there was, brought up the venting aspect. We would have a dust collection system that would be contained in that insulated room. It is a conditioned building. It's not a metal building it's just metal. No, this is wood that we're dealing with. So we do need it to be a conditioned space. So it'll be insulated, heated, cooled. One aspect is the doors. You always kind of get concerned of garage doors being stayed open during the summer months, but again, we're dealing with wood cabinetry. We need everything to be a conditioned space, so those doors will not be open during really at all, besides deliveries and things like that. So venting, we only do water based. All the finishes, we don't do lacquers or anything like that. So really, there's no smells. The VOCs are very, very low. But we would have a vent, like Rick was saying, would be going out of the building, but no smells or anything like that. Dust collection system would be inside in an insulated room. We have that currently in our shop. So not really any noise. Compressors. So we're not plugging in compressor and you hear framing guns going all day, framing houses and things like that. This is all contained again in an insulated room inside. And again, those are just little trim guns here and there. Deliveries, kind of touched on it a little bit, but they're small trucks. We're not looking at 18-wheelers coming in and delivering, piles of lumber and things like that every day. This is a warehouse workshop where everything's coming in. We, maybe once a week we're getting lumber deliveries. We stockpile it in the warehouse, and we're able to use it as we need it. It's not every day. Landon Lumber's not coming every day or anything like that. Atlantic Plywood, which is kind of supplies our paint. They maybe come once a week, twice a week, usually Tuesdays, Thursdays. But again, it's not everyday type of deliveries with these big 30-foot trucks. Amazon UPS deliveries, maybe 3 times a week, but those obviously just little delivery trucks. Just that's really the operation. Monday through Friday, we'd be potentially operating on Saturdays, maybe for appointment only, Monday through Friday. I think we have on here 7:30 to 5. Those are really kind of the main those main hours. We're not open at night. We're not open at 5 a.m. And yeah, that's kind of the operation side of this building.
You're gonna have a spray booth?
Yeah, we'll have a spray booth. It'll be inside. It'll be a contained area, and that's where the ventilation is. So it's all contained and getting its own water base.
You're gonna be working with MDF or Crestwood,
Yeah, MDF all the time.
so you have a formaldehyde risk.
Not that I know of MDF at this time, but not press board.
Did they eliminate formaldehydes?
I don't know if they did or not.
I would sure hope so at this time. But that would be the first I've ever heard of that. I feel like my insurance company would have.
Could you find out?
Way on top of me on that one.
And that's okay. I don't think it's a big deal,
Yeah.
but could you find out?
Sure, of course.
Are you, you're using the same, I heard you say the current operations are in
Milano.
Milano, so it's currently in town, same
Yep.
materials that you were
Same
already.
materials. Yep. Yeah, plywoods, hardwoods, all that.
When you said climate control, how tightly do you keep that? Is it like,
Pretty tight. I mean, all the doors stay open. We have closers on our doors right now. You know, because of that fluctuation, humidity is really the big thing, especially with the wood expansion, contraction, especially with paint. You know, this will be in the end too, where we have all our cabinets that get stored for, a couple of weeks at a time before they go to our jobs or someone else's job. So it is pretty controlled.
I
We
come
have-
from museum world, so I.
Yeah, we have, remember, I think it was maybe it was a couple of years ago, we brought some humidity detectors and put them in to make sure that we're not,
We're in the range.
yeah.
And also, are you gonna allow visitors from the showroom into the workshop?
Yep. Yeah, if they want to come see it, I mean, that's what we have this connection right here that could still be parking in front and then walking through the.
Are the systems I would expect them to be closed systems for the shop versus the residential units. What about like noise control and any heating, ventilation controls to?
That's the one aspect with the two buildings as well. You know, the front is gonna be a stick frame, the back is gonna be a metal building, but it will all be insulated. It'll be two zones. There'll be a zone for the heating AC for the first floor here, heating and AC back here, and then those two residentials will actually have their own little unit. And then there will be a double wall. We haven't gotten into the exact construction of it, but there'll be some type of sound barrier, double wall between the apartments and the front area.
This is the architect talking again. There is a buffer of rooms between the workshop itself. That little buffer right there is actually part of the workshop side of things. It separates it from the main showroom, and it also separates the residential above, so that we have a couple of layers of walls that have been put in for sound control for sure. High priority.
Has you seen anyone address emergency vehicle ingress and egress in the parking lot? I assume you've addressed it, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of space. I mean, I am a fireman as well, so I do know that we're gonna be able to get any trucks that we do need to down here, and then there's gonna be plenty of space in the front, right on Cottage Road and in the parking lot.
If turn out to turn into your road, it's adequate for the,
Yeah, it's a two-lane residential road. Any other question?
I think it looks great.
Okay. Mike Ott is in front of the Old Saybrook Wetlands Agency right now. And I think he's going to be joining us shortly. But I was hoping that you could, Aaron, if possible, bring up his plan, because I have a number of things I want to highlight, and especially in light of some of the questions from the commission.
Chris, do you want me to point at do you want to bring up and I'll point when you're talking?
Sure.
If you need to, let me know. I can point.
Okay.
I'm just hitting that. We're not. Is this a good one for you to start with, Chris?
Yeah, yeah. Mike had sent me an email with the points he had wanted to make. I think he's probably going to be here shortly because he's telling me he's told him he has to leave. So, but I'm going to go ahead and read the points he wanted to make. And he first said that the parcel is approximately 150 feet west of the Cottage Mill Road intersection. There are no regulated water bodies or inland wetlands located on or in the near vicinity of the site. Tidal wetlands are located across Cottage Road, approximately 90 to 150 feet to the south of the site. And the site is located within the south central shoreline sub-regional drainage basin and the Toms Creek local drainage basin. The site drains to the municipal storm drainage system within Cottage Road, which discharges to the tidal wetland to the south of the site. The site is located partially within a special flood hazard area, AE 11 zone and flood zone X, and the flooding source is the coastal waters of Long Island Sound. Although the development proposal includes the placement of a minor volume of fill within the special flood hazard area zone, because of the location of the site on the Long Island Sound shoreline adjacent to a coastal A zone and the coastal waters flooding source, there's no regulatory requirement under applicable floodplain management regulations to compensate for the loss of flood storage volume. The site is not located within a public water supply, watershed area, or an aquifer protection area. The Connecticut Department the total area of land disturbance associated with the complete project construction activities is approximately 0.85 acres, and the impervious surface land coverage is approximately 0.43 acres. As shown in the zoning standards table on the title sheet of the submitted permit drawing set, which are signed and sealed, all bulk standard requirements for the C zoning district outlined in section 6.1.3 and the parking requirements of section 8.0 of the zoning regulations have been met. The site will be served by a single 18-foot wide access driveway from Cottage Road, and parking areas in front of the building and at the rear of the building have been provided. A total of 21 parking spaces have been provided, including one reserved parking space. The plan does contain a parking breakdown of the uses we're intending to put at the site, and it dictates 20 parking spaces required under our regulations, so we have one extra. There was a question earlier about what was going to be paved and what was not, and I think I want to correct that information because the front third of the access driveway and the front parking area will be paved, and the remaining portion of the driveway, the loading area and the rear parking area will be surfaced with stone aggregate pavement section. The planned building will be served by the Connecticut Water Company, Public Water System, and Public Electric and Communication utilities located within the Cottage Road right-of-way. The building will also be served by a buried liquid propane gas tank located on the east side of the building. The building will also be served by an on-site subsurface sewage disposal system that has been reviewed and approved by the Town Health Department. That approval is on file and part of the record. The grading of the site has been planned such that only a relatively small area of the site's access driveway and a small lawn area will drain to Cottage Road. Stormwater runoff from the major portion of the developed site, including the building roof, access driveway, parking areas, and sidewalk, will be directed to a hydrodynamic separator type stormwater treatment structure and then to a subsurface stormwater infiltration system beneath the front parking area. The stormwater management system has been designed to meet the requirements of the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Stormwater Quality Manual and the requirements of Section 5.1 of the Stormwater Management section of the Town of Madison zoning regulations. All exterior Building mounted and pole mounted lighting will be LED fixtures with a low color temperature. The exterior lighting meets current standards for backlight, uplight, and glare, and an exterior lighting photometric plan has been submitted demonstrating that light levels are appropriate and there is no light spillage beyond the site's property boundaries. A waste and recycling receptacles enclosed area has been provided at the rear of the site and at the end of the access driveway. In addition to already having the septic system approved by the town's health department, today we received a letter from Deep, which indicated that there were no concerns from their standpoint with respect to the project and the Coastal Area Management Act. I see Mike is here. He's probably waiting for me to stop talking, so welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Chris, and my apologies to the commission. I was in an Old Saybrook Inland Wetland Commission meeting. I heard you. I think I heard your whole presentation, Chris.
Okay.
So I'd be glad to answer any questions that the
Okay,
commission might have for me.
A couple of points had come up earlier during Rick's presentation. One being how much area is going to be paved. Another being the trucks being able to get into the loading dock and have a turning radius ability to exit the site. The parking locations, the waste and trash receptacle locations, and the lighting, the location of the exterior lighting. So maybe you can hit those first.
Okay, see if I can remember them. So the yellow, if the commission can see that on this plan that I'm seeing on the screen, can you all see the yellow shaded area?
Yes.
That entire area, everywhere it's yellow, is a stone aggregate surface. It's because the soils here are sands and gravels. This type of surface works well, has worked well on other sites. So everywhere you see yellow is not bituminous pavement, it's a stone aggregate. And the remainder of the driveway, I was estimating about a third of its length out to Cottage Road will be paved and the front parking area will be paved. And that's it. The remainder is the yellow area, which will be the stone aggregate surface. With regard to trucks, so the right, as you might imagine, the right turning movement, right in or right out is always the movement of concern. And you'll notice if you come in to Cottage Road from Mill Road, from the bottom of the page heading towards the cul-de-sac, that the return curve radius, the radius of the driveway is much bigger, larger and flatter than the other one. And that's to accommodate the right in turning movement of a truck. This site, as you're probably all familiar with the site, but it's kind of a unique location where there's the cul-de-sac and there's only one other property to the north of this parcel, and there's no ability for this road to be extended, as you all know, because of the Hammonasset connector. The road actually, some of you may know, the Cottage Road actually used to connect across before the connector, and it went to where Signal Hill Road is today. That's why the east end of Signal Hill Road is a kind of a funny arrangement. So trucks aren't going to be turning right to get out. And even if they wanted to, they can actually occupy the entire width of Cottage Road because there's virtually no traffic on the road. So the size of the truck, the 30-foot trucks are a single unit or SU30 design vehicle that we call it, is what this driveway is designed for. That's the size of the trucks that are anticipated to come to the site. The waste and recycling enclosure is at the very end of the driveway. that dark rectangle, can you point to that, Chris?
Yeah.
Yep. So that, you know, there's a concrete pad and there's an enclosure around it with gates so that you won't be looking at the receptacles all the time. Receptacles meaning the dumpsters. And then the lighting, there's one pole mounted light at the rear for the rear parking area, and there's 4 pole mounted lights for the front parking area. And there's building mounted lighting, as I'm sure Rick, the architect, probably described. Most, if not all of it, required by the building code at all the at all the doors, at all the entrances and exits from the building. And if you zoom in, I think you'll be able to see the 4 light locations in the front parking area. And we submitted, I'm sure Chris, Attorney McCann told you all that we submitted an exterior lighting photometric plan with the application also. Was that all of the commission's questions?
Actually, Mike, a couple of us.
Go ahead, first.
This is Carol Snow. In other applications, we've had concerns expressed about flooding at the intersection of Mill Road and Cottage Road. And, you know, I think what you're telling us is that there shouldn't be any issue with stormwater runoff contributing to that intersection. Is that right?
Yes. So the flooding, you may remember, Carol, I actually worked on that application.
Right.
And I'm familiar with it when I was town engineer. That flooding, it's really ponding. It's because the road is low and there's no drainage system in Cottage Road on that side, on the opposite side. And the reason I say that is the problem is kind of isolated to the opposite side of Mill Road. This site, it couldn't possibly contribute, especially because only about 700 square feet of this site will drain to Cottage Road. We've captured, if you looked at the stormwater management report that we submitted, we've captured the water from the entire building roof, the entire front parking area, the sidewalk, and the entire yellow area, if runoff should occur from it. We've captured all that and directed it to the subsurface infiltration system, and the soils are so good here that they can take all of the runoff even for the 100-year rainfall event. So we should have a very, very small amount of stormwater runoff that goes out to Cottage Road. And when it does, it goes into the drainage system that's in Cottage Road on this side of Mill. So it does not go back towards Mill Road.
Thank you.
Bugda, how are you bringing in the Eversource utility service?
Could you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
How are you bringing in Eversource utility service to the site?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's actually shown if you zoom in on the I guess it would be the east corner of the site, the bottom of the page. The water and the power and the communication utilities are shown coming in underground from Cottage Road. They're colored actually. The water's colored in blue and the power and communications colored in orange.
Sorry.
If you can see that on the plan.
Any other questions? Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does the
Are there-
commission have any other questions of our team? If not, I can briefly sum up here. In terms of all of what we've presented with our documentation, our plans, I would submit to you that the uses that the applicant intends to implement at the subject property can be carried out safely without causing any significant increase in traffic concentration. I specifically put in the letter that I submitted today, all of the uses that could be applied for in this zone. I believe that in the commercial district, this is a very, very modest intensity of use. And one that, should be embraced by surrounding property owners and probably enhances surrounding property owners because of the other potential uses that could be put on this site. Secondly, the parking is completely self-contained. We have one on site. We have one extra space. Subject, of course, to the relief that we're requesting about the front yard parking, which again, I don't see how it makes any sense in the commercial district. The septic system, we submitted early enough so that we know that the the public health code is compliant because of the sign off from the town's health department that we have. We have feedback from the Connecticut Deep indicating no issues whatsoever, specifically with respect to the coastal site plan aspect of our application. I think it's clear that there is not going to be any objectionable light or noise emanating from the project and the uses, especially given the fact that the backdrop of this site, really, the Hammonasset Connector is going to produce more noise than this use. It is, obviously cars move at a pretty good clip on that, and the area is sort of dominated by that noise, whatever it is. So I think this is a really good location for this type of use because of that. As I said earlier, the proposed uses really do fit exactly within the definitions of what we're doing. There's no stretching or trying to put a square peg in a round hole here. We have a clearly vacant and underutilized parcel of land in our commercial district, which again, these pieces of land that can be utilized and developed in the commercial district are limited, especially on the east end of town, where the Hammonasset State Park is. And most importantly, we have a local business that'll be permitted to root itself in Madison, where its principals have lived and worked for generations. And we add 2 apartments that will clearly be unique and distinctive, providing another alternative housing option for people in town. And all of that is to say that I think it will be an asset to this area and clearly won't have any injurious effect on any of the surrounding properties. So we hope you'll receive the application favorably and allow the project and the uses to be implemented on the site. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for the commission? Not. Let's open it up to the public.
Sure. Madam Chair, I just wanted to note for the record, I submitted a staff report for the commission. We don't need to read through it. I think we've touched on every piece. So to save us time and energy, I just wanted to note that it is submitted. It's there.
Thank you. All right, questions, comments?
Yeah, I have
Could you identify yourself and?
I'm sorry. I wondered if you could take me back to the original architectural drawing that was on board that shows a map. You could.
We need your name and address.
Identify yourself. Pardon me. Could you provide your name? I'm sorry, I was going to do that. I just wanted to get it set up. My name is William Porter. I live, and I'm going to read this because I'm not a good speaker. I live at 6 Delbridge Street, Madison. This is located in the 164 home Windermere community, whose only exit entrance is on Cottage Road. During the past number of years, residents of Windermere, Seabreeze condominiums, and other homeowners and renters on Cottage Road have been concerned about the condition of Cottage Road. The concern involves safely driving, walking, and biking on a narrow, unimproved rural road with rapidly changing traffic conditions. The Cottage Road and Boston Post Road area, which runs parallel to Cottage Road, has evolved significantly in the last 25 to 30 years. Examples include the marketplace with Cohen's Bagels, Yale and Middlesex medical facilities, and the Dollar Business Apartment Complex. All of these facilities have exits, entrances off Cottage Road, as well as the Boston Post Road. A condominium complex is also planned on the Boston Post Road, which will abut Cottage Road. Cottage Road has seen the development of 3 apartment complexes totaling 64 rental units. The growth in residents in the eastern part of Madison has also caused traffic heading towards Clinton to use Cottage Road as a cut-through street. All of this increase in activity and growth has taken place with no improvements to Cottage Road, which is still a narrow, unimproved road. Passing oncoming vehicles on the road usually require one driver to slow down and pull over to let the other car pass safely. It's as narrow as 16.5 feet by Seabreeze condominiums just north of this proposed complex. There is no room on the road for walkers. They must find a place off the road when cars pass. Residents of Cottage Road began to make selectmen and the Planning and Zoning Committee aware of their concerns about Cottage Road in 2022. Selectman Lyons in August of 2022 indicated in an email that once the Wilmington apartment project was completed, the town would conduct an assessment of the road conditions, taking into account the impact of the construction, the new development, and new traffic flow. With no changes to Cottage Road in the summer of 2025, same plan at Cottage Road, same plan, a Cottage Road petition committee was formed. A petition with 206 people living in Windermere and on Cottage Road was submitted to the selectmen in September 24 of last year. It respectively asked the town to make a commitment to upgrade Cottage Road to a complete street by the end of 2026. The selectmen were very responsive to our concerns and submitted a request that a road improvement project be submitted to the Town Capital Improvement Committee, SIP. Members of the Cottage Road Improvement Committee, after meeting with Selectman Lyons and John Anico, recognized this was a significant project and engineering and cost would be an issue. One of our representatives presented our concerns to the Capital Improvement Committee at a meeting in December of 2025. We are confident the town now has Cottage Road planned for improvement pending engineering, design, and funding. My reason for attending this meeting is to make you aware of the concern we have for further business expansion on Cottage Road until the road is improved. This project should only be completed in conjunction with Cottage Road upgrades. We also question why the developers on Cottage Road are not required to help fund the road improvements, as their businesses are fundamentally helping to drive the need for road upgrades. Respectively submitted William Porter for the Cottage Road Improvement Committee. I have a copy for the board. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I see we have a hand raised.
Yes. John. John, could you identify yourself for the record?
You're on me.
9 Mill Road in Madison.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name?
John Monty, 39 Mill Road.
Thank you.
So this project is basically going to be right in my backyard. So I have some concern as far as noise, sound deadening. I don't know if that's been discussed or planned. I also have some issue with exterior lighting, is that gonna be something that's gonna be on all night? And as far as, and I know somebody else earlier but talked about ventilation, what's the ventilation going to be for something like this? And yeah, how loud is with all the trucks and everything working in there, what's the noise level gonna be as well? I have some concerns about that.
Thank you. Does someone want to try to respond to
Sure.
these issues?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one aspect is the ventilation that we will have a ventilation system. We have one right now at Milano Development. There's no smell, there's not much, there's really no noise. It's all just getting vented out. We have a spray booth inside. The trucks is, like I stated earlier, it's not a heavy truck. It's 30-foot trucks once, maybe twice a week during business hours. So noise level, like I said before, it's going to be a conditioned building. The back building where all the saws and everything's kind of be working, compressors. That's going to be an insulated building to today's standard building codes. Some town deadening is, it's not a workshop where a saw is running for 9 hours a day. It's a workshop, but it's all going to be enclosed. It's all going to be a tight building. So I can't tell you the decibels or anything like that of, exterior. Attorney Chris McKeon said, a Himnas connector is going to be a lot louder than our building. The lighting, Mike, I don't know if you're able to kind of talk about what that, the lighting, I mean, all that lighting is down lighting. It's there's no spillover. I believe the lighting plan shows that there's no spillover onto properties. There's lighting underneath the porch. It's, going to be, it is a residential apartments, and maybe Mike, you could take that lighting part.
Sure. Yes, the lighting is all compliant, dark sky compliant. They're all full cutoff fixtures. In fact, they're if you look at the detail on the plans, they're pendant style lights. So there's an arm, there's a hook, just like the lights on Wall Street. As a matter of fact, they're the same lights that are on Wall Street, and just like the lights that are in the downtown center. So the light hangs down from a hooked arm and shines down. There's no light above a horizontal plane at the light source. So they're the old terminology is they're considered full cutoff fixtures. The new terminology is the uplighting component is 0. So the light source is up inside the housing. It meets all the standards for, backlight, uplight, and glare. And it won't be on all night. It'll be controlled by a timer and by photocells. So the timers would turn it off at a certain time that Travis can talk about, and they will turn on by photocell when it gets dark enough. So if I hate to put you on the spot, Travis, but what would you think the time would be when they would go off?
I think it's the apartments aspect. Obviously, during the winter, it's dark out, so at 4:30, so the lights would be on wholesale. I think it's the apartment aspect, keeping those on until 10 o'clock for the safety, the parking lot, and then that would be my expectation and my thought process with the lights, at least for the parking lot for the tenants.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And again, because they meet all current standards, there shouldn't be any light pollution, and that's why we submitted the exterior lighting photo plan to document that.
Thank you.
I had a couple of points in response to those comments from the public as well. First, with respect to the Cottage Road traffic situation, my understanding of that issue is with respect to Cottage Road to the east of Mill Road. This particular location, people are going to come to this site and access it from the Post Road, come up Mill Road and take a left. And I think that the traffic issues are to the east, number one. With respect to noise and lighting, obviously the noise issue is somewhat sort of self-policing here. Travis is going to build this project and have 2 apartments in there. So the containment of noise is going to be something that he's going to need to pay attention to, much more so to protect those apartment occupants than anybody who lives anywhere close to this site. I think that people should take comfort in the fact that there's going to be people living on this particular piece of property as well. The other thing I would point out is that our regulations do have a provision in section 2.1 where you cannot produce, noise that is bothersome to surrounding properties. Given his experience with where he is now, operating where he is now, knowing what type of noise is there and the presence of the 2 apartments, as well as the backdrop of where this commercially zoned parcel is located, I think that all of those factors would indicate that noise is not going to be an issue.
Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion that we close the public hearing and move to deliberations? 6 seconds, Michelle? Further discussion, all in favor? So the public hearing is closed. We've got a lot of good information. It looks like a great project, I think. I don't know how you found that parcel of land. And I think it fits, it's such an odd lot and what could you do with it? And I think this is a really great solution.
It is. Yeah, they were completely buttoned up. I don't there's any reason. Like, this is kind of like a no-brainer. I completely respect your concerns, but yeah, I look at the map and I think your concerns are valid, but just not necessarily relevant to this particular project. Just due to the dead end aspect and the fact that it wouldn't be actively accessing the road. And then
And roads are up to the town, not.
yeah,
the zoning.
exactly.
And then
The public
also
hearing's closed,
access on
sorry.
the road to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with regards to the other concerns, like it's an insulated building, so I would expect the noise to be the same as if somebody was using a saw inside of a house. And then it also looks like there's a ton of wood still between the property and this gentleman's property. So from a lighting perspective, I think this is kind of a no-brainer in my opinion.
How do people feel about waiving the front parking issue?
I've always thought the definition of a front yard involves grass. It's not a front parking lot. But
No parking.
that the idea was not to put an old ramshackle car on your grass in front of the house.
Or I thought it might be to prevent strip malls or something, which we don't want to have along with one.
Regardless, I don't, this,
But all
This is not a
buildings in
site
this
anymore.
general vicinity have parking in front of them.
Right, in the commercial area, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a commercial zone, right?
Yes.
And also with the landscaping and the nice detail in front, it looks quite nice on the photos. And regarding Cottage Road, the reality is the road's in really bad shape. So there's traffic concerns, but I think the bigger concern is the road's just like bad. And we tried to work something out with that affordable housing approval way back in the days, but that ponding is still there.
A little bit,
And,
yeah.
Well, I don't think they've done anything.
No, I don't think anything's been done, no, they haven't been any
It
improvement.
does sound like there's something in motion to fix it up. And
It's a separate concern.
it's a separate thing, right? It's a separate thing. So it's a valid concern, but it's separate from this.
Because when I look at the position of the proposed improvement. And when I listen to the gentleman's concerns about traffic along Cottage Grove, it sounds like there's a distinct separation between traffic expectations and customer volume. Going to the left to the new proposed property versus the residential along Cottage Grove. and I hear the concerns in this, like, we should be addressing those in a separate way, but I don't know that the commercial aspects of the property to the left side of Mill Road would in fact contribute to what is already an issue.
Well, I think the reality is the road conditions beyond our purview.
And the board of selectmen is the way I was paying attention.
Yeah.
That's, it's not.
Yep. Thanks. Any other input?
I'd like to suggest adding one condition, that is, the ventilation system being improved by state. But you know, bodies of some kind and be improved, whatever that is. There's some vagueness about what
Is
that's
it-
gonna be.
Is it OSHA that,
Probably a fire marshal.
or the fire marshal?
And is there a way, in addition to that, my concern is the residential impact for the two, one, the neighboring area, but also the two units that are proposed, is the noise and the ventilation. I want to make sure that they're well protected.
You may need to word a condition like that of that the applicant shall utilize best practices for
That's about what I can do.
ventilation and noise. I don't think you really want to condition an approval based on another agency's approval. I think that would be going in the wrong direction,
Okay.
but you can definitely add language.
Because I think if they take such steps, then that will then cascade out to the surrounding neighborhood and general area. Yes, I do, I think about wildlife in the area, and there's squirrels and and whatnot, but come on.
I think that it would also be good to add the condition that Attorney McKean recommended about the rentals be no less than 3 months, because we don't want to have a short-term rental problem right across from Hammonasset in its prime location. So,
Is that not already a general? Isn't that in the regulations already?
It's a regulation.
It was.
It's a regulation.
It is a
No, that's-
regulation.
Stipulation.
It could be depending on what you do in upcoming regulation amendments. It may not be. So it can't hurt to add it as a condition. It does help protect your housing stock. As far as preventing short-term rentals
Right.
and using that for
It's a hard issue.
yeah,
some diversity in
issue.
housing.
All right, so how do you want to tackle that?
I'm okay adding that as a condition, even if the regulations cover it, but just to emphasize that these are two new units being added to the stock and make sure it's not a short-term rental.
That's fine.
That's fine. What about the ventilation? What do you do with that?
Yeah, how do you recommend, Aaron, drafting
The recommendation.
the condition for noise and ventilation? If the applicant followed up. Utilize
Best practices in design for noise and ventilation with respect to the workshop.
There's no regulatory requirement?
There are, I'm sure there are zoning.
Yeah, is there a specific OSHA requirement for that? This is Jeff Downs' question. I mean, does OSHA have the requirement for ventilation?
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely, they do.
So that would be, they would have to comply with that, wouldn't
But
they?
I don't have a problem saying, adding it.
Okay.
In design for noise and ventilation.
Best practices, using best practices.
Yeah, utilizing the best practices, which would follow any federal or state.
That's fine with me. As long as it's addressed.
Okay, Aaron, do you want to,
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up for you in just a
edit,
second.
go up it?
Just didn't miss a type live on the screen. Have everyone laughed at me?
That's okay.
It's a lot of pressure.
See the red lines.
Okay, let's try this. Okay. This, this draft resolution includes some standard, conditions that, the commission typically applies to, special exception permits, notification of the ZEO, ENS controls during, construction activities until the site is stabilized, as-built survey of the property, including stormwater components, and verification from a licensed engineer that the system was installed according to the design plans. And that is submitted prior to the issuance of the final certificate of zoning compliance, which comes right before the CO. A note here about lighting, color temperature of 3000 and installed according to plans, which already notes the dark sky friendly. Number 5 is the utilization of best practices in design for noise and ventilation with respect to the workshop area, within the workshop area, however you'd like to word that. And
And the
that
impact of the workshop area on residential.
to protect. Is
Yeah,
that what you,
to protect the residential spaces. Or to minimize disruption as much as possible and whatever language is appropriate.
applicant shall utilize best practices in design for noise and ventilation within the workshop area to minimize impacts to the residential units. And then the last one was the condition suggested by Attorney McKeon. The applicant shall not lease the residential units for less than 3-month terms.
Great. Thank you.
It's clear.
Can I have a motion? We're gonna.
Motion, all right,
Can
read
you
away,
read for us?
man, read away.
You're the closest one.
I didn't zoom in.
I figured.
You see it?
Brooklyn emotion drawn now.
Yeah. I know, our training's everywhere.
Following resolution is offered, voted that the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approve application number 26-3 plus CSP, 0 Cottage Road, map 30, lot 35, Zone C, owner Commerce Center of Madison LLC, applicant Gulick and Company LLC. Special exception application and coastal site plan application for the construction of a 8,706 square foot footprint mixed-use commercial and residential building, which will primarily be used as a cabinetry business with retail and showroom space, workshop, inventory storage, supporting offices, and restrooms. Building includes 2 one-bedroom residential dwelling units on the second floor. The site improvements include access driveway, parking areas, sidewalk, building utility services, wastewater system, stormwater management system, exterior lighting, signage, and landscape improvements. All improvements are shown in application materials and supporting documentations and a set of plans entitled Saltwood Cabinetry, Cottage Road, Madison, Connecticut by Summerhill Civil Engineers and Land Surveyors, PC sheets C-001 through C-305. 10 sheets total, dated February 10th, 2026, revised to March 10th, 2026. Architectural plans by Point One Architects, Saltwood Cabinetry, Cottage Road, Madison, Connecticut, sheets A.01 through A8.00, 7 sheets total, dated February 6, 2026. Landscape plan L1.0, Gulick Cottage Road, Madison, Connecticut by Madison Earth Care, dated received on February 11th, 2026. And photometric plan Saltwood Cabinetry, Cottage Road, Madison, Connecticut by Apex Lighting Solutions, sheet SL-1 dated 2/23/26 with the following conditions: that the zoning enforcement officer be notified at least 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. 2, that all erosion and sedimentation controls be installed prior to any site disturbance and be maintained for the duration of construction activities and until the site is sufficiently stabilized to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. 3, as an as-built survey of the property, including stormwater system component, shall be submitted to the commission with written verification from a licensed engineer that the system was constructed in accordance with the approved design plans. This submittal shall be completed prior to the issuance of a final certificate of zoning compliance. All site lighting shall be, number 4, all site lighting shall be installed according to plans with a color temperature of 3000 K. Number 5, the applicant shall utilize best practices in design for noise and ventilation within the workshop area to minimize impacts to the residential units. And number 6, the applicant shall not lease the residential units for less than 3-month terms. Be it further voted that the commission waives the prohibition of parking within the front yard for section 8.4 as the site layout is consistent with other commercially zoned parcels on the east end of town, and the applicant provides for appropriate streetscape and site access. The commission further finds the proposal consistent with all applicable goals and policies in the Coastal Management Act and Section 25 of the Madison zoning regulations. The applicant's effort to handle increased impervious surface coverage in accordance with the state's stormwater quality manual and maintain adequate soil and erosion controls during construction activities are adequate. No impacts on coastal resources are anticipated. In the event that changes to the approved plans are required as a result of other agency permitting to support the proposed activity, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to review such changes and may require modification of this approval. This approval is made based upon the finding that the proposed use is a permitted use in the district and that the standards, prerequisites, and conditions specified by the regulations have been met. The public convenience and welfare will be substantially served, and the appropriate use of neighboring properties will not be substantially or permanently injured. The effective date of this approval is April 2nd, 2026, and upon filing of the certificate of special exception on the land records.
Thank you, John.
Oh, Brad.
Do I have a second? Second. Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
All in favor?
Yeah, you're in favor.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Great, thank you.
Good, Jeff.
All right, thanks so much. Congratulations.
Great.
Forward to seeing you.
From that.
Presentation, guys.
Good luck to you guys.
All right, next on the agenda, we have a couple of pending applications. The first is 26-2, 6 described map 68 and 59, zone RU2. Owner applicant Town of Madison. It's a site plan modification application for construction of a 3 by 48 foot, 1,440 square foot detached accessory storage building for the police department.
This is nowhere near as fancy as the project, but, it is Ben Whitaker, Director of Construction and Planning for the Madison Public Schools in the town of Madison. So this is a project that's been a desire of our police department for quite a long time, and we're finally hoping that it passes referendum this April and we can make it a reality. It's a much needed storage facility garage for them. As you mentioned, it's 30 by 48, and we're tucking it behind the police department. So if you're pulling into the town campus, town hall's on your right, PD's on your left, you would have to swing around in through the gated area and behind the building. It's actually being built in a section of the plot in the original construction of the building was designated for future expansion. Didn't specify what they were expanding to, but it's a nice, fairly level site to put this garage in. It's going to have 12-foot high doors, 3 bays. But the building itself is rather low. It's only 16 feet to the eaves and 17 feet, a little over 17 feet to the roof line. So a very shallow pitched standing seam metal roof. It's a pre-engineered steel building. However, we are trying to make it look pretty. ACA approved the color scheme for it. And we also are going to continue the PD right now has a brick skirt around the bottom of it. And we're going to continue that around this building as well. Even though you can't really see it from the street. We want to make it a permanent fixture on the site and not look like it was an afterthought. It is going to have utilities going into it, water for a hand sink and a hose bib, electricity for some basic outlets in there, and lighting, and drainage is going to be floor drains that it's going to go into a dry well that you can see on the top left-hand corner site there. We are removing all of one tree. It's a small tree from the site. We are going to protect the larger tree that Aaron is showing right now. There's a walkway from the existing building to the storage building. It's that kind of funky shape because we have to meet ADA code. Originally, we were going to go straight out, but couldn't really make that happen. Drainage is going to go on the rear of the stormwater drainage on the rear of the property goes to a dry well. Again, it's pretty flat behind there. And then in the front of the building, it just grades to grade, to basically flows to the east there. There's a little bit of a haunch in the pavement, that allows the water to come down the road and then continue on the road. So it kind of sweeps down and out, if that makes any sense. What am I missing?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a aquifer protection area, Ben, if you want to speak to that referral.
Yeah, so two things we did. One was we notified Connecticut Water. Connecticut Water didn't have any issues. They we basically had to submit to them what we were going to use the facility for, which is essentially vehicle storage, and then minor kind of workshop space. They had no concerns with that. We also submitted to DEP because I'm going to forget the term, but it's a diversity wildlife area. There are spotted turtles lurking in the area, we have learned. We hope they stay in the wetlands. I've never seen one over there. But yeah, we are going to, this property is not in the wetlands, but it is very close to the upland review area. So we will keep an eye out for them. When we put our construction fence up, we actually are going to there's going to be a poster that's going to go on there, that DEP suggested, that basically says, like, if you see this turtle, don't touch it, and then call somebody who's a competent party, which I guess is me. I'll come move the turtle. So we'll see what happens there.
I think eggs are also something.
Yeah. We will monitor. In all seriousness, before we start any work there, we will monitor the site before we actually mobilize and make sure that there isn't anything necessary. This is not like a wetlands area or an area where we're removing any vegetation. It is literally a grassy lot behind the PD where they have a bunch of stuff parked there now.
I saw it today.
Yeah, so it'll be less of an eyesore because they have a high water vehicle that's stored behind there. That's why we had to make the bay doors bigger and wider, was to get that thing inside. Not the prettiest vehicle in the world. So good space for them. They also want to move some stuff now that's in their carport area that you can see. There's like light trailers and things like that. They want to move all that, motorcycles. They want to get all that stuff undercover. The building is going to be heated, insulated, but it's not going to be heated to 70 degrees. It'll be heated to 55, just for breeze protection. Get the renderings, the second batch of them. The ones that are all the way down at the end of the attachments.
It's pretty standard, I guess, right?
Those are the shops, but there's.
Yeah, so there'll be the brick on the look. This is almost very similar to the facilities building when the addition that was put on, that came before the commission not that long ago. General, very gentle slope roof. I do have some of the sample colors that you brought to ACA as well. I just have I didn't close my screen, so I have to.
And any toxic materials or solvents or?
No, that was actually something that, so this is kind of the general rendering of the thing. That was something that Connecticut Water was very much interested in, and there are no chemicals or anything that are like that are going to be stored in the building. So, yeah.
And that's what the floor drain and the dry
well. So that's why nothing is leaving the site unless it's going out in a truck.
What's the date of that emergency vehicle?
The
big,
the high water vehicle,
Yeah.
the surplus one. I don't know how old those are.
We're gonna get it.
Yeah.
I've been waiting years.
Yeah. So a lot of those were, the previous municipality I worked for, bought a few of those from the Department of Defense, and they were going through like a fire sale back in like 2015.
Offloading.
Yeah, and it was pretty completely irrelevant, but the one that the municipality I bought, that I was with, bought, they had to go to Texas to get it, but they paid $20,000 for it, and there was an asset tag from the DOD. The thing was 5 years old at $920,000. It actually stated the purchase price on there, so we got a pretty good. They probably used $800,000 getting gas from Texas to here, but it was it was a good deal.
So we shared the site plan. Did anybody have any questions about the site plan itself?
No.
Straightforward. It's a prefab thing.
Yeah, pre-engineered, so it'll be stick built on site, but it's metal panels and structural steel.
Yeah.
So.
The only comment we had was about lighting, and ACA had noted that as well, those pack lights on the building. Who do want to make sure that those are shielded when they're installed. Similar lights are on the facilities building now, and they could blind you from about 3 miles away.
Whole different use though. One is a production facility where we're coming in doing plow operations and things like that in those wee hours in the morning. So we call it our aircraft terminal when all those lights come on. This building is just gonna have wall pack just for downloading, just to light the actual door itself. They're not going out into the street or trying to do the access road that's behind it, or we're not trying to light any of that up. So there's one above each bay and then one in the rear just above the pedestrian door back there.
And just to confirm, it's strictly vehicle storage, not vehicle maintenance, just hearing you guys talk about the age of vehicles and like no oil changes or nothing.
No. Yeah, the PD will, having worked with PDs for many years, they are not gonna work on their vehicles.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Nope.
Be straightforward.
This is a site plan approval. This is not a special exception public
Right.
hearing. This is a modification of the overall site plan of town campus.
And so we do have a draft resolution.
Motion to approve. Is that what you want me to do?
We need to approve it and then read the draft.
Yes.
I think it's sure. Okay, what?
Go ahead.
The Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approves application 26-2, 6-9 Campus Drive, map 68, lot 49, zone RU2, owner applicant John Madison. Site plan modification application for construction of a 30 by 48 foot, 1,440 square foot detached accessory storage building for the police department as shown on the plan. Site plan Madison Police Station proposed storage building, Campus Drive, Madison, Connecticut, by SLR Consulting dated January 22nd, 2026, including shop drawings and other supplemental materials in the application documents and following conditions. 1, that the zoning enforcement officer be notified at least 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. 2, that all erosion and sedimentation controls be installed prior to any site disturbance and be maintained with the distribution for the duration of construction activities and until the site is sufficiently stabilized to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. Tree protection for the adjacent 24-foot tree shall be maintained throughout construction activities. That any new building and site lighting be full cut-off dark sky friendly. That during construction activities, the contractor shall adhere to deep best management practices for construction activities near turtles of special concern. In the event that changes to the approved plans are required as a result of other agency permitting to support the proposed activity, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to review said changes and may require modification of this approval. This approval is made based upon the finding that the proposed use is a permitted use in the district and that the standards prerequisite conditions specified by the regulations. Public convenience and welfare will be substantially served and the appropriate use of neighboring properties will not be substantially or permanently injured. The proposed use is in accordance with the comprehensive plan. The effective date of this approval is April 2nd, 2026.
Thank you, Michelle. Second?
Second.
Mike, down. Any further discussion? On favor? Jeff?
Hi, Jeff.
Thank you. Great. Thanks
you.
for your
Appreciate it.
patience.
All right, no
Can't see
problem.
my hand raised very well.
Hear you. Yeah. All right, next on our agenda is 26-6, 117 Buffalo Bay, map 12, lot 40, zone R3, on applicant Helen Maher. Coastal site plan application to demolish the existing single-family dwelling and construct a new 3-bedroom home and associated site. Applicant to come forward.
Good evening. My name is Gigi Rankin and I work with Double B Design and I'm a land use technician. For this application, I'm the agent for the owner, Helen Mayer of 117 Buffalo Bay. We're here tonight, as you just said, for a coastal site plan application to demolish the existing single-family dwelling and construct a new 3-bedroom home and associated site improvements, which include a pool and detached shed. On March 16th, 2026, we received the town planner Aaron Mannix's memo that was addressed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The memo clearly outlines the scope of work and highlights positive ZBA and deep comments that state The proposed activity does not adversely impact the identified coastal resources. The local health department has reviewed the proposed septic system and issued an approval. And the property is not located within a natural diversity database polygon. Additionally, the memo offers a fair and honest draft resolution for the application. The memo offers a fair and honest draft resolution for application approval if the conditions are met. If you'd like me to read the memo, please say so.
Please no.
If the commission has read the letter and we agree that with the provided erosion and sedimentation control efforts and stormwater management features, the proposal is consistent with all applicable goals and policies in the Coastal Management Act, then the client and I agree to the conditions listed in the draft resolution. Please let me know if you have any questions. If not, thank you for your time.
Hold up the plan just to reiterate Gigi's presentation. This is a demolition and new construction for those of you familiar with the Buffalo Bay. Cool little community there. This is the property did receive a variance for the proximity of the structure to the critical coastal resource. So we have in our zoning regulations a 50-foot setback from a critical coastal resource, which would be the top of the bluff there, that escarpment. And so the existing house was non-conforming, and this house, as you can see, they're side by side. On the left side of the screen is the existing home, and the right side is the new proposed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that I should have said that first.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Chuck,
You know, I just-
can I just clarify one thing?
Yeah.
So we're making it less non-conforming, so we're actually moving it further up.
Away.
Yeah, the red line
The red line.
is
And the crazy thing about this application, well, to me it's crazy, is that we already had CAM approval from ZBA. I think this new regulation requires all applications to go back. And Deep had no comments. They even didn't change their letter. They said, just use the letter from last time.
Yes.
So I just wanted to get that off my chest. This is really bothered that we had to even be here.
Did you come here all the way just to say that?
You know me, but I can't keep my mouth shut.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let you
Well,
know.
I have a similar thing I have to say is that the existing house is a 1920 house. We're very sad to see these old Buffalo Bay houses being torn down. That said, the design is.
Yeah, it's super similar to the
Yeah, it's
original.
very similar.
Yeah.
Those houses, have you seen them? They're
Wanted to renovate it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
they're
Well,
almost dangerous.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
20 square feet was the old one, how many square feet is it?
Old one is smaller. I don't know about it.
It had more bedrooms than this one, but I think the footprint is definitely larger because it triggered the 2.9.
The setbacks, yes,
The
exactly.
increased setbacks. That being said, the current property has no stormwater management system at all. And so even though their stormwater regulations don't necessarily require it currently for single family residents especially in a coastal zone, the fact that the impervious surface coverage is being picked up and managed through this rain garden system and the level spreader is a benefit
And
to the site.
septic system.
The existing floor area says here is 4,310 square feet, and then the proposed is 5,008. So not that much different.
One big house for.
I mean, it is different, absolutely, but.
That's still a big house.
Still a big house.
My
Yeah.
wife would disagree. It is significantly.
So yeah, the scope of your review is simply from a coastal resource. There are clearly sensitive resources on the property, the stormwater system and ENS controls. The ENS controls will be very, to create that limit of construction activity there on top.
And
of
no
that
changes
bluff.
are being made to the seawalls or this, that's what wooden stairs going down, I think.
Yeah, and the slope isn't super steep.
And you're not touching the tennis court.
No.
All right, thanks.
And there's a draft resolution in your memo.
Yeah, we do have a draft resolution, which you're okay with. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Would someone like to read?
Mine.
Honor?
All right.
Okay, the resolution is off now. Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approves application number 26-6 period 117 Buffalo Bay, map 12, lot 40, zone R3, owner applicant Helen Mayer, coastal site plan application to demolish existing single-family dwelling and construct new 3-bedroom home and associated site improvements as shown on plan. Site plan and coastal area management plan, lot 2, the Shore Colony Company at Buffalo Bay. Assessors map 12, lot 40, 117 Buffalo Bay, Madison, Connecticut by Double B Design LLC, dated January 2nd, 2026, revised to February 3rd, 2026, sheets CO1 and CO2, and architectural drawings, hand submission, new residence for Kevin Mayer and Vanderhorn Associates, sheets A-1, period 1 through A2- and period 2, 6 sheets total, dated October 9th, 2025, with the following conditions. 1, that the zoning enforcement officer be notified at least 24 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. 2, that all erosion and sedimentation controls be installed prior to any site disturbance be maintained for the duration of construction activities and until the site is sufficiently stabilized to satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. In the event that changes to the approved as required as a result of other agency permitting to support the proposed activity, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to review said changes and require modification of this approval. The Commission finds that with the provided erosion and sedimentation control efforts and stormwater management features, the proposal is consistent with all applicable goals and policies in the Coastal Management Act and Section 25 of the Madison zoning regulations. The effective date of this approval is April 2nd, 2026.
Bob, can I have a second?
Oh, one second.
Becca, any further discussion? All in favor?
Favor.
Jeff? You're muted, maybe?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah. All right, we have another pending application, 26-767 Middle Beach Road, which I need to, a motion to have it tabled to April 2nd, 2026. Next meeting. Mike Bugda, John, second, and any further discussion, all in favor for that meeting, April 2nd.
Aye.
Thank you.
Actually, I can't approve the minutes.
Referrals,
Oh,
and you want to
Yeah,
describe
I can.
Cottage Road?
So in 2018, the commission approved a mixed-use development at 168, 178 Cottage Road, a couple of parcels. I'm going to just bring it up on GIS so you can see what I'm talking
This is on
about
the
here.
other side of the post.
Right, across from me.
This is at the very end of Cottage
And
Road
on the Hammond Asset.
on the water. I did put in, I went to the Board of Selectmen last week regarding this 824 referral and had put together a packet for them. But this is a property that's adjacent to Salt Meadow Park. So this is the Hammonasset River all the way on the far side of your screen, which is our boundary with Clinton. And Salt Meadow Park is here. Dog Park is, this is an older aerial photo, I think from 23, but this is where the current dog park is, and these are all of our sports fields. So the subject parcel that is going to be transferred to the town, the developers volunteered both a public access easement at the development And this transfer of roughly 7.5 acres, there's a little bit of upland here, and mostly tidal wetlands. And knowing that it's contiguous with Salt Meadow, decided it would be great for habitat protection as well as minimizing any potential for development, and really trying to be in keeping with the Coastal Act, public access, and enhancement of coastal resources here. So this, if you make a right, the ice house is right here on the corner. So you know where we are. The development includes this parcel here, this second parcel in the middle, and this larger piece where this current steel marine use building is. This is essentially where the marina is, and there's this large gravel parking area down below. The shellfish, Indian River Shellfish, is located back here in the parking lot. I have a Google Street View if that helps. The town currently owns property here. It's the old Post Road bridge abutment, basically. So that, and we have created a small kayak launch in this area also.
We put a sign up for it.
Longer term, the Salt Meadow Park was always intended to have a boat launch here in this area.
Yeah.
So actually the acquisition of this piece would make that a nice option here, if we can move forward and complete some of those improvements that were originally planned for Salt Meadow. The public access piece, as Cottage Road comes around here, this existing building, which will be, there are major renovations here for the proposed building. I included some renderings in my report. It kind of looks like a lighthouse type structure. And they're proposing a deck at the rear of the building facing the water. And so really the limits of this public access easement will be 4 parking spaces in the parking lot and sidewalk walkway and staircase or ramp up to this viewing deck. And that's really what it will be used for. And I think that was offered. Really, they had some challenges with their deep review as far as the extent of site development and the fact that it was a mostly residential development. And so this was trying to, on a waterfront property, maintain that water dependent use. And
Access, yeah.
Yeah, and we've gone through this on other waterfront properties to try to preserve that public access.
Now, did they originally own all 3 of those parcels or they purchased?
Yes, and they do. This actually was, it was a different configuration. And as part of the approval, these lots were always going to be revised. And the lot line revisions were really to help create setbacks and separate properties for the septic systems for those townhouse styles.
Past planning.
So they have already filed this lot line revision, which is why the lots don't look the way they did when they came in for the 2018.
So they're gonna move to a contiguous lot, contiguous lot.
This is going to stay this way.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is. This piece here is what they're looking to transfer to the town.
Okay.
That's a nice 7-acre plus.
Very
piece.
nice, yeah.
It is, and there really is, there's some nice habitat here at Salt Meadow in this tidal area. So I think it does help preserve. It's, additional open space. It's not an orphaned piece somewhere that
fields, right?
No, it's, and I mean, most of it is not.
There's marsh.
Yes.
It'll just remain space.
It will be. Yeah, it will just be incorporated into the park.
Is it sale or donation?
It's a donation.
Transfer, and is there what finance worry about? All the board of finance worry about transfer of property and what it means.
No, there is no fee. It's a donation to the property. And actually, because of the value of the property, It, according to our charter, it only needs Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance approval. It does not trigger that value, which I think is $250,000 to trigger the need for a town meeting. So after the 8/24 referral, if they receive favorable recommendation from the commission, then they will move forward and.
Do we need to vote on it?
You will need to vote on that.
Motion to approve the transfer. Thank you. Second?
Second.
I'll do that. Okay, discussion,
The resolution
favor.
as drafted.
That's right.
How that went?
As drafted.
That's right.
All right, and then,
That was Michelle. I'm sorry. Just because I'm clerking, who seconded that?
John.
I made the.
Oh, thank you.
thanks, we might not more than one here. Okay, and then a couple of administrative approvals.
This is just for your reference. Anytime our ZEO takes action on a minor site plan modification, and that's all defined in the regulations, the size and scale of that type of development, she needs to report to you that she did take action. So one is minor lighting at Gedney Kitchens down on Bradley. And the other is Wilshire, which is a special exception development. So anytime a resident wants to change anything exterior, they need to come in for approvals.
So it's a screen porch,
It's a screen porch on an existing patio.
which has been approved by the
Yeah.
community. Okay, last, before approval of minutes, we have the appointment to ACA of Peter Bulick, who was here earlier, but
Yeah.
chose not to say.
Yeah.
But he would be excellent, I think, for ACA. He's been on ACA before.
I was gonna say that.
Background in historic preservation as well as design and construction.
And I
Solid.
included Peter's bio for you so that you kind of were aware. That's just his bio from their website
Presentation, yeah.
And I kind of assumed just because of Peter's history with working on historic houses that he was looking to come in under wearing the hat of historic preservationist, but actually he mentioned to Carol and I today that he kind of saw himself as, a builder, designer as well. And so, I don't know if you want to be specific as far as which section
Of our zoning
of
regulations.
the desired professions for ACA to get Peter appointed, but we do have a developer listed and definitely the historic preservationist, and I think he could probably work.
Karen, the ACA website, does it say what each member?
I don't believe it has been broken down like
So I
that.
don't think we need. to.
We've had.
Contractor.
This is the planning and zoning commission's job to appoint ACA members. So, yeah,
Do we need to specify the role or just appoint him?
you can appoint him to serve that term. And the only reason I say that,
Combination of things.
yeah, the only reason I say that is because you have a limited number of committee members. We've had some resignations. Unfortunately, some of our members have passed away over the last few years. And we are down to 3 members. So having Peter join would bring us up to 4.
And he's a good balance.
Which would be,
It's young bloods.
But if there's a multitude of skills, it's always specify which skills or just like he is a very qualified candidate. So let
well, Peter is not, but
go for the conquer. Yes.
Yes. I vote in favor of Peter Gulick, or I would make a motion that we approve him for ACA. Second.
I approve.
Great. And spread the word that there's still vacancies on ACA if anyone.
That's good to know, actually.
Professionals.
Yeah.
All right, next, approval of minutes, Secretary John Morgan.
Minutes from March 5th, 2026. Commissioners present, and this was a Zoom only, commissioners present on Zoom. Carol Snow, John Doucette, John Morgan, Michelle Clark, who was seated, Max Caroon and Janet Peckinpah. Commissioners absent were Mike Bugdud, Jeff Downs, Bob O'Connor, and Andy Rubin. Aaron Mannix, staff was present. Motion to review and approve the minutes?
Why that? Sure.
I did not have any, do we need a second?
Second,
I didn't have any corrections.
One
Perfectly
correction, I
done.
think I never quite made it to the last meeting,
No, you didn't.
so I should be removed.
You're under absent.
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 Yeah,
okay,
that's
sorry.
correct.
Yeah, I thought it.
Commissioner is absent. No changes? No one
No,
else?
I didn't see any
All right.
changes.
Everyone approve, in favor? Thank you.
I've abstained before.
I think Jeff, did you vote or abstain?
I think he abstained. Was he here?
Was not here.
I
Okay.
abstained, but
Okay.
I wasn't there.
Okay, great, thanks. I have no further remarks. Erin, anything else to add?
Well,
No.
I'd like to thank Aaron for putting together the membership list and thank you.
Carol already clearly.
Let me email each other.
We can't even, we can talk to each other.
Just in case you need someone.
Oh,
You get a flat tire on your bike.
Yeah, exactly.
I very quickly just wanted to remind the commission that at our next meeting, Mike D'Amato, one of our consultants from Tyke, John Guskowski's other half of Tyke, will be in, and we will be going over our reorganization of the zoning regs so that we could schedule that for a public hearing.
Okay.
This is really just a shuffling of sections and no substantive changes. And I have just a couple of edits to do, but I expect to get you a copy of that ahead of time next week so you could look at it. It's
Thank you.
not all that
We've
enlightening.
gotten the table of contents. I think that's it so far.
Yes. And so now everything will follow that
Plugged in.
section. Really, the tedious part is just cross-referencing all the old section numbers and now putting in all the new section numbers. So
That's why we have consultants.
None of us wants to do that.
All right, could I have a motion to adjourn then?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Bob O'Connor, any discussion, all in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
thanks, Jeff.